Hey everybody, welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
I am Connor Coggins, and Stuart, you look dapper. Dapper.
This is my spiffy new threads. Thought should actually have a uniform here on Trekyards. Maybe. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have to do that.
I like Old Faithful. My uniforms have served me for hundreds of years. They're good stuff. But I agree. Sometimes we need a new uniform, and sometimes several new uniforms, as was the case in episode 5 of Discovery. We went to Starfleet, went to the Federation headquarters, Starfleet quarters, and surprise, surprise, there's a new uniform. Surprise, surprise, there's several new uniforms. Surprise, surprise, there's so many new uniforms. There's going to be a two-part video. One that looks at some, and some look at others. And in fact, there's more details than even you guys saw when you start breaking down what's, where, and how and who. So today we're going to look at the CNC uniform in more detail, and the standardish uniform, which we can now work out exactly, because we were theorizing last week. But now we know exactly which uniform was which, and look at some details, and how they may compare to TMP. That is the motion picture. So Stuart, what was your overall sort of thoughts on the uniforms in this episode? Now we finally got to see them, and like how they were, how the vibe was as they walked through the episode.
Well, generally, I'm not a fan of these spandexy kind of uniforms. I mean, Discovery ones, you need to be pretty fit to look good in them, in my opinion. Same with these other ones. That being said, there are standout ones that have like a jacket with like the stripe on it, which I think look pretty sharp. Nice cuts. It's not spandexy material, and I think it looks really good. But there are a lot of spandexy tie-ins that, are very reminiscent of the motion picture as well. So
yeah, there's a lot of variation in these uniforms.
I think they tried to hit, visual cues from a lot of different things to kind of be like, hey, this is the future, and we want to make everybody happy. So we'll include a little bit from everything.
Although in fairness to this, spandex, TOS had a two-piece. Motion picture had a one-piece. Rather Khan's a two-piece, but it kind of feels thick and heavy. TNG was a one-piece, very, very, very tight. Season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 was both a two-piece and a one-piece, depending who you were when you were doing, but it was a two-piece, which is why Picard pulled it down. In Voyager and DS9, they were all jumpsuits, all one-piece jumpsuits, except for the occasional two-piece invented for a specific scene or character, like Cisco and Takes Off, etc. First Contact, same thing. Most people use jumpsuits, but there's some one pieces, and then obviously future uniforms, mostly two pieces. So for most part, all Trek uniforms are one piece jumpsuits. So there is that connective tissue here. So you have to look fit, but I guess most of those shows, they weren't necessarily as shiny. And you're right, sort of reflectivey, spandexy feel. The black was slightly more matte. It wasn't that much more matte, but also they were all in SD. But I mean, they were all pretty fit too. But let's look at the CNC uniform first. I am so in love with the fact that we actually got this right. One of us said that, like, you know what? It's a CNC. And we had no evidence to back that up, except it looks different, and we were right. And we get a lot of shots, and here's a full view, close-ups, and epaulets and such. What do you think? Now you've seen it, and how does it vibe for you as a CNC?
I think it looks really great. There's a lot of nice details, especially like the epaulets, the rank pins, the striping. It all looks really good. Even the texturing on the shoulder things. The thing I don't like is the boots. They seem a little bit too, I don't know, the straps along the top, and just the fact that they're the high boots that aren't covered by the. I think that's a little off-putting, at least. It kind of ruins the bottom half of the uniform for me. But I think the top half looks absolutely great. Definitely a lot of attention was paid to detail. And again, you can see the tie-ins with the ribbing on this part is very reminiscent of like Picard's jacket, things like that. Or the Nemesis uniforms as well. So
yeah, that bit of extra texture, and it's not like the Discovery and JJ texture was actually little deltas. Like if it had been deltas, that would have ruined it for me instantly. But this is an appropriate sort of texture. And I think the boots are interesting because there is so much thought. And having seen a billion fan films and people trying to design new uniforms, I'm always impressed the official can come up with new uniforms we haven't seen before. But these boots to me say TOS, but more like heavy duty boots. We haven't seen those big sort of riding crop boots for a long time. So I was like, oh, interesting callback. It is unusual, but I understand why. So I can appreciate why. As for the jacket and such, it's great. Yeah, and he did see, and now made clarity. He's a CNC. The Tull character was only an admiral, and that's why there was less red. So we can now distinctly clarify classic admiral. And I think given the reaction of this character to Tal, there are so few admirals left. Like, you lost one of your few admirals. This was a big deal. But he's not going to dwell on it, you know? I got some closer to the badge, so you kind of see the pips. Which I think the badge is too reflective. It gets lost in every single shot. It was so hard to find anything. It needs to be more of the resin, like the old... Well, every badge from TNG through to Relativity. It does get lost. The Delta, I kind of prefer Tal's with a bright gold. You're right, this is not bright gold. I didn't realize the epaulets were actually raised. You can only see that in the extreme close up, but I like it. Although I think that middle view, the side, why is his collar feels like it's pushed out so much? It's like it's like the opposite of a priest dog collar. It's like it's on the outside of. It's like a piece of cardboard attached to his neck. It's great from every angle except the weird side.
Just a choice. I think it looks fine. I kind of like that, actually. And even like the Admiral's bars, yes, he's got 5 pips on his comm badge, which is very hard to see. 5 as well on each of the... And we're back to 2 on the Admirals. We need to see another Admiral's uniform, I think. Because we don't know if Senatel's... It was a few years old, so I don't know if, that has anything to do with it. But yeah, I think it's a fine looking outfit, and I do like the cut in the bottom of the shirt. It makes it feel like a jacket, like a formal jacket. So yeah, I think it looks good.
He feels a crispness, but still not as militaristic. Now, do you wish though that those top shoulder blades were actually the full red? Like if they were a full color, would that improve it?
No. I wouldn't like that. If they were black with the red trim, I think would be very sharp.
Ooh,
but I'd have to see it.
Yeah.
If they were black with the arms being black, I think would look kind of cool. But I'd have to see it to really know for sure.
Too militaristic for me, or too imperial from Star Wars. Because once you get into greys, you kind of reminisce. But I just want to check with that. But Stuart, there is a second. Well, now we can see though. Standard issue uniform. We did see this lady in the trailer. But as you can see, I managed to find stills. This is definitely, I think, undisputably the standard issue uniform. As I defined a color for all of them. So you've got red operation, gold engineering, blue science, and white medical. Boom! Standard issue uniform discovered. What do you think, Stuart?
Again, these I really like. The stripe is very sharp looking. It's a very crisp looking uniform. There's one thing I absolutely hate: the asymmetrical bottom. I don't know why.
God, yeah.
I don't know why Discovery needs to go asymmetrical with everything. Like I'm sorry, but the costume designer must have some kind of brain issue, and everything has to be asymmetrical to be like, look what I designed. The Admirals, the CNCs doesn't have the asymmetry. These do, and I didn't notice it till we looked at these pictures.
See, that's why we do this, guys. Why the hell would you have zoomed in this much? We do it for you.
It's not as bad down there on the bottom of the shirt part as it is on the collar for Discovery. I don't mind this as much. It's actually something that might grow on you, actually. But other than that, I think the stripe looks great, and I really appreciated this new style. I think the colors really pop, and it looks really crisp and clean. And that's one thing that in a uniform, it's not too busy. Discoveries, I find, are too busy with all the deltas everywhere, all the striping.
It's also too gimmicky with all the deltas literally everywhere. The ultra shininess it's gimmicky to all hell.
So these are very simplistic and crisp, and I like that. I like that a lot.
Well, this feels... Now, I will say it's a very, very simple uniform. And if you took away the stripe, you wouldn't call it Star Trek. But and we are... I think when most of the time we're on the same track with these sorts of things, this to me feels like a sort of Wrath of Khan style in the sense that... So TOS was boom, 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 colour. Great, you understand. TMP was let's remove all the colour. Boom, boom, boom. But there's... Whatever. Remove that from the description. Wrath of Khan was, we're going to make this extremely different, unlike anything uniform, that does not feel like TOS. And it's going to be one-note colour. Very bland. But we're going to give colour division in specific pieces that stand out. Turtleneck, although most of the time we see command, so it always feels like it's white, but they do stand out being colour division. So it's a very simple uniform, but with a very bold colour division piece. This is just a jacket. A clean grey jacket. But because of its simple, bold colours, instantly it works. Instantly it's effective. It's not as good as it could be, but that's what could be said for anything, But I think, yeah, it's a good, simple, futuristic, and the fact that it feels so in line with the Admirals and the CNC, I think that as a unified look, you understand where it's coming from, where it's going.
Yeah. Another thing that ties it in with the motion picture is the over the shoulder thing. Like they had the white strap on the TMP.
It's true.
Not TMP and Rathacon ones, and this has the same thing, just all the way down. I think that was well done. I don't know if it extends to the back. It doesn't actually.
No, I don't think it does.
I wish it did a little bit, like even just down that far down the back. I think would be really nice, and have like another emblem or something at the base of it.
I agree. And in here, it does look like they've got a different badge, with the gold being more prominent on the Delta. Again, does get lost though. Sorry guys, you made especially if you're going to do big, bright lit rooms, made a misstep there. Especially as you can 3D print stuff to look like metal, etc. But I think I like the rank pips on the neck. Like, it's a collar. It doesn't stand out too much, although you can see the gold guy has a gold reflection. There might just be a reflection of the uniform, maybe, or it might be different divisions or whatever. But I actually don't mind that. 2 ways of seeing rank. We have that in TWOC, as you said. They have multiple versions. I don't mind that, and it definitely links in with the other chaps. And another small thing, but the shoes. Simpler TOS vibe. Just clean riding boots. Again, taking that business away from the Admirals, but still having that art aesthetic. Like, I wonder if they designed the Admirals first and then sort of down simplified it into this.
Possibly, yeah.
At least there aren't deltas on it. Big improvement. Like I said, it is probably too simple. But, like, I almost wish that stripe had gone in one line further. There's a seam in the thing, like right up to that seam, I think may have helped. But this looks clean. That's the problem with it. It's like the balance of this honestly does feel like more like a uniform they might wear. As this simple, efficient, militaristic, whatever. But Stuart, let's talk about not simple, not militaristic. TMP. The outlier all Starfleet. I made this graphic. We've actually got several different comparisons. Check out the other video to see the other comparison with TMP. And this is a comparing with the medical side uniforms. Next week will be security, because that's in that video. But I wanted to compare directly some TMP to this. Do you think they're trying to pull in art aesthetics? The other uniforms didn't have these pieces, but these ones kind of do. What do you think? Do you think they are harnessing some TMP here?
Absolutely, yes. And one of the most obvious things for that is the little addition of the belt buckle, or the attachment at the front, which I always liked in TMP. It's a monitor to monitor your health. I've always liked the Admiral's uniform in TMP. I thought that was very sharp looking, and because it was two-tone, it didn't stand out as pajamas. It looks very formal. The one-tone ones are a little bit off to me, but
it's as if they ran out of money, so they just did anything. It's weird.
You can definitely see some tie-ins, though. Like I said, the belt buckle, the color, even the little shoulder pieces that the TMP ones have. It's kind of carried over in the form of like the top. It's a little bit. And the fact that the TMP emblem has the circle behind it, and this has an oval. Again, there's a lot of visual tie-ins that I saw immediately as a motion picture. So
I think also the way the fabric clings to the person, for better and for worse, with Decker there, the uniforms don't cling this way with the Voyager. The fabric just isn't that way. These ones, again, these two specific examples, and we'll look at other ones next time, but they cling more like TMP. It gives me that vibe. It's more of that weird fabric rather than that clean overall fabric, a workman's fabric. But just some visual for you guys. I think clearly they were inspired by a lot of stuff, and TMP, for what it's worth, is a very unique sort of future-ish, clean-looking, mostly Admirals, but etc. And so they probably want to harken a little bit to that. There you go, guys. A look at the CNC, the standard issue. I will call it now the standard issue, and first TMP connection. But there is more uniforms, because they threw them at us, and there's some more that I'm sure even Stuart noticed, because they are literally one-shot uniforms as well. So tune in for that second episode, and do comment down below what you think, which is your favourite, which is your least favourite, why, how does this fit into your ranking of all subject uniforms, and would you ever get this uniform? Let us know. And of course, do like and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos like this and like the ones we're going to be doing, and the reviews and the lives, all this great stuff. So do that. Make sure to click the bell notification though. It is important, and like I said, comments are good.
That's right. And join us for our lives as we do those every week. We do multiple ones, so join in, be a part of the conversation. If you can help us out by supporting the channel in any way, via Patreon, joining the channel, helping us with super chats during a live. Lots of great ways to help the channel. Check the description of every video. And help us out if you can. So we hope to see you in the future. And until then, I am Captain Foley.
I'm Kong. See you next time.
Bye, everybody.